That was not good for my rage.
This is Talk and Audio.
All right, we all here. We all in. Let's go. Got like 5 minutes, maybe less. I said to Bunda on the Tuesday afternoon show, you can't get it all back at once after you went down 2 games. So go out to Seattle and take 2 of 3. Treat it like a road series at any other point in the season. And go get 2 of 3 and bring it home. And they have done that. Albeit with a bit of a twist. I don't care for this particular director's cut surprise ending. You had it. It was right there. And I'm going to do my best here. I made the mistake of tweeting out at like 5 o'clock today that I found this 6 p.m. start to be tantalizing because I thought it might be fun to finally get to do a reaction show again. We used to do those a lot here on the show. And yet I've gotten old and tired and grumpy. I was always grumpy. And now these games are starting at 8 o'clock and 8:30 as much as they are at 7 o'clock. And there was just no way. And I'm like, you know what? Regardless of how this goes, it's a 6 p.m. start. It'll be done by like 9 o'clock. And yeah, maybe we can go in. Maybe we can talk about the game. That might be fun for a little weekend content. And then the game, this is even before the bad thing happened. And boy, did a bad thing happen. It's already like 9 o'clock and we're only in the bottom of the 7th. Maybe a little bit later than that. I'm like, man, this is taking a little longer than I thought. Maybe I just won't bother. All I did was put it on Twitter. People know you read stuff on Twitter. You don't have to believe it. You probably shouldn't. And this would just be 1 in a million lost tweets. No one will even remember that I suggested I might do a post-game reaction show. And then the bad thing happened. And I started to have some feelings. And maybe that's coming across right now. I can't believe what just fucking happened. I'm sitting... I decide after the bad thing happens, I am going to go in and talk. And we start to get some tweets from some listeners and some friends going, where are we at? Are we going to do the reaction pod? And I think I did quote one. I do have a reaction. Yes, I think we will do that. And then our buddy Steve, he reminds me that we used to call them rage pods. And that sort of fits the mood right now. There is some rage around here. There was a part of me, like literally the moment that the third out was recorded in the top of the 9th, I shut the TV off. I don't care about the fucking press conferences. I don't care about breaking it down. We all know what we just watched. We all know exactly what happened. And I keep trying, and I guess this is why we call it a rage pod, because it's a little irrational. I keep trying to remind myself, Matt, on Tuesday, you said just go get 2 or 3, and they did it. And they did it. And they're coming home. And after being down 0-2, that's a good result. But it's not. That is not a good result. And look, yeah, almost entirely, this rests with Pete Walker, who for some reason online is getting to skate on this. He's a part of this decision. It rests with John Schneider, certainly more than it does with Pete Walker, because he's the one who gets the final call. And Brendon Little. Like, yes, we can all agree that John Schneider should not have gone to that guy. That doesn't mean we get to absolve the guy. Get in there. You're a major leaguer. Throw decent pitches. I can't believe we've gotten this far without doing this thing that we always do on the show. because it's badly needed right now. Beautiful Bytown, 10% dark IPA. That's where we're at. Things are dark. I'm lashing out at people. This is a rage pod. I'm lashing out at our friend Ian McMartin from the Whippersnapper Brewing Company, who brought some delicious beers over here earlier this week. I guess he forgot the 13%er that he normally hands me to deal with another Leaf playoff loss. If I had something stronger than 10% sitting right here, right now, that's what I'd be having. So I'm lashing out at you too, Ian. My rage may not all be directed in the right places. My rage is also directed at this offense. How many times were there guys on base? It didn't need to be 2-1 in the 8th. The Ernie Clement thing, what happened with the bases loaded? In 1,000 years, he couldn't do that again. Make contact and have it just die right in front of home plate so Cal Rowley could step on it. For the first of a couple times he just stepped on me tonight. Pick up the ball, step on home plate, throw it to first, inning over. What the fuck just happened? Score a run. We're counting on Alejandro Kirk and his sprint speeds to get from second to home for us to score runs. Oh, don't forget, it may be lost in the shuffle at this point. They blew out George Springer's knee by hitting him again. No idea if that guy's going to play on Sunday. I'm realizing in this moment, and I don't know how much of this is staying in. Actually, I do. I'm not editing this fucking thing. We're just doing this and going to bed. I don't know that I've ever had a Leaf pod quite this angry. And the Leafs have humiliated. We mentioned that this might be a bit of a rage pod. One of our frequent listeners and a guy who's been around for a while puts this reply to one of the tweets saying, I'm going in to do the rage pod. He said, this makes it was 4-1 Leafs and Bruins feel like a cute faux pas. That was not good for my rage.
This is not good for my rage.
I do not need people wandering by and lighting matches in this gasoline-soaked room. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about now. Oh, yeah, score more than 2 runs. There is enough rage to go around. And yet, you did have the lead. You were up 2-1 in the 8th inning of a playoff game, and your closer was sitting down there. And at the time, Sir Anthony Dominguez, he's going to get some rage here in a minute. We did not yet know that Dominguez would bring rage. He was an option. Jeff Hoffman was an option. And it's funny, because at some point we all need to look in the mirror here a little bit and decide when we're being real with our outrage and when we're going a little over the top. And at points, I've probably already been over the top here today myself. There's no probably about it. We're all sitting here going, bring in Hoffman! Why are you going to fucking Brendon Little when you got your closer sitting right there? How many months have we spent here, since August going, do not bring in Jeff Hoffman in a leverage situation. That guy's trouble. I don't trust that guy. Worst closer in baseball. Gives up home runs. It was all true. And now we're sitting here like it was a slam dunk decision that it should have been Hoffman instead of Little. And of course it should have been. But we do have to have a little self-awareness and go, yeah, I haven't always been excited to see Hoffman, but I get it. If your choices are Jeff Hoffman or Brendon Little, you go with Jeff Hoffman. Based on what we've seen in the second half of the season, when your choices are Tyler Heineman and Brendon Little, you go with Tyler Heineman. Screw it. That guy's pitched some innings for you. Get him in there. Whatever. You didn't have to do it. Chris Bassett was sitting out there. I assume they didn't want to do that again. He's been a starter all year. Are you starting him up like a normal bullpen guy? I guess not. But there were other options. And Brendon Little hasn't been good in months. And so let's remove, if we can, just the Brendon Little of it from the equation and look at the guys you're facing. And it's Cal Rowley. He's pretty good. You may have heard, hit over 60 home runs this year. Sure, bringing Little to face that guy. No, Matt, we're removing the Brendon Little of it all. We're going to spin him back around because these are switch hitters. You got Polanco behind him. And then I guess the reason that we went to Little is because when you're dealing with switch hitters and they're going to move around anyway, you line up for the guys that who don't move. So it's Naylor who's going to come in third. He's a lefty. I guess Little's in there to face that guy. But this year, against lefties, I'm just making sure I got my notes here correct. Because if I'm going to go off, I'm at least going to be right about it. My indignance is going to be backed up with facts. Cal Rowley has an above 170 WRC plus against lefties this year. Polanco has an above 140. And Josh Naylor, the guy you brought him in for, has an above 110. If you're not familiar with the WRC plus stat, anything over 100 is good. 100 is average. You brought in your well below average guy to face all of those guys who have huge, well above average numbers against lefties, including the lefty that you brought him in to face, Josh Naylor. Over the last 6 weeks, righties, buckle up, folks, are batting .500 against Brendon Little. And John Schneider goes, "That's my guy. Get on out here, kid." I find myself going, I don't know what to say, and then just opening my mouth and there's more to say. This was baffling. Going to Brendon Little in the 8th inning of a playoff game when he hasn't been good since like June.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one word for that. Idiocy.
It could have been salvageable. The game was tied. You hadn't yet barfed all over yourself. So you go to Dominguez, who you should have gone to in the first place if you weren't going to go to Hoffman. And look, I didn't see John Schneider's post-game presser, so I don't know yet what he said. But I know what he said. I'm sure this was galaxy brain bullshit that said, I didn't want to show Hoffman to them twice in 2 days. Same part of the lineup, because he went to Hoffman yesterday in the 8th against the top of the lineup, and he didn't do it today. So why'd you burn it when you had the big lead? If you knew that was going to be your mindset, you didn't want those guys to see you or see your closer twice in 2 days, you don't burn it on the first day when you got the big lead. It's still nonsense. You should have gone to Hoffman this time. But it's quite clear this was galaxy brain bullshit. I'm going to bring in Brendon Little with a 1-run lead. Anyway, like I said, that gets pissed away. Cal Rowley, of course, was going to golf that out. That was never in question. As I said on Twitter, he and John Schneider and Pete Walker seem to be the only guys that didn't know. Because I count Brendon Little in that. Our buddy Stoughton pointed out, Little looked every bit as surprised as everyone else. Really? You want me to go in here? Coach, this is going to go bad, man. So you bring in Dominguez after Rowley ties the game. It's not over. You're not dead. It's okay. It's tied. Let's just get through this. He fucking plunks a guy. We load up the fucking bases. Suarez comes in. Wham! Grand slam. Thank you, ma'am, I guess. Thank you, John Schneider. And now it's done. And when you watched the top of the 9th, what a fucking whimper. There's a part of me that goes, yeah, that's how I feel too, boys. But there was nothing. Like, those guys looked like, yeah, we're dead tonight. And you'll notice the one thing that I haven't done, I've had rage pouring out for a lot of guys. Dominguez, not good enough. Little, certainly not good enough, but we knew that was going to happen. It was like putting a three-legged cat in there to pitch and being shocked it didn't work. I'm not going to take it out on the fucking cat. I don't know where that reference came from. We're all over the place. The offense, not doing enough. I got a little rage for some of the people I follow on Twitter too, who flushed the season. It's all been a waste. It's not over. Okay? That's the one thing you have not heard me say, is that, oh, you're fucked. That was your chance. It might yet turn out to be that was your chance, because winning 2 in a row, not an easy task. You did just do it in Seattle, so it's not like it's impossible. That you come home, win Game 6, send it to 7, and see what happens. No pressure, kid, when we send Trey Savage out there on Sunday. But I have no time for this has been the most resilient team all year, and they always battle back, and you love how they stick with it. And then as soon as a game gets away from you, it's, well, season's over. I'm not doing that. But if they go down, if they lose Game 6 or 7, this moment, that 8th inning, whether you want to look at the home run by Rowley or you want to look at the grand slam, there's so much carnage to look at from Suarez. That John Schneider moment is season defining. We all talked all summer. Look how much fun this team was to watch. This was great. To win the division, hold off the Yankees at the end, beat them in the ALDS, Vladdy and everything that he's done in these playoffs. Man, look at that start from Trey Savage. All the fun you've had. Everything the good that has come before this is gone. All off season, it will be that 8th inning, and that's it. That's all we'll talk about. And maybe that's not right, but that is going to be the lasting memory of this season if they go down, if they can't pull this out. And they may yet do it. They have battled back. They've won 2 in a row plenty of times. And this Seattle team is hardly unbeatable. You will have to score a run or two, but they've shown they can do that. So we'll see. But if this is the way this wraps up, if they can't pull it out of the fire, we will talk about this 8th inning for years. People won't remember all the great stuff that happened. And like I said, that sucks, but that's the reality. It all hinges on this. This is season-defining stuff. And all year, I've defended John Schneider. I've thought people were too hard on John Schneider, make ridiculous overstatements, blame him for things that are clearly team-wide mandates that come down from management and things that are pre-planned, put decisions on him when really it was probably the right decision and the pitchers don't execute. I've stood up for the guy. This is undefendable. Brendon Little hasn't been good in months. And you put him in there with a 1-run lead in the 8th inning of a playoff game. And like I said, everything else is still applicable. Score more runs ahead of time. Don't come apart afterwards with Dominguez and the Suarez grand slam. There's a lot of fucking shit that went wrong tonight, but that one linchpin in the whole thing is John Schneider deciding, I'm not going to go to my closer in the biggest moment of the season because they saw him yesterday. And instead, I'm going to go to a guy that everyone has seen, not just yesterday, but for months, can't do the job. Fucking ridiculous. Back to the Dome on Sunday. I'll be there locked in. Wipe the slate clean. Let's get some sleep. All of that. I still have... Honestly, I think it's no worse than 50-50, even now. And obviously, you can tell, Matt's not a math guy. The Mariners have to win one game. you have to win 2 games. In my mind, there's still 50-50 to win this thing. The Jays can win 2 in a row. You got your Savage going. You got Bieber going after that. It'll be all hands on deck in that last game, obviously, if you force Game 7. Get back into that great crowd at the Dome. I got to know, before I get too bullish on my it's 50-50, I got to know where George Springer's at. Like I said, somehow that's... By the way, fuck you to Mariners fans booing. I get it. We don't like you. We're going to boo you every time you come up. That's cute. I get it. That's sports. Fans are emotional. And that's... Honestly, I'm being too condescending on that, but you may have been able to tell I'm a little fired up right now. It's okay that they boo George Springer. That's sports. You got guys you like, you got guys you don't like. I understand why they do it. But when the man has just been plunked on the fucking knee and is trying to find out if he can walk to stay in the game and you're still booing him, fuck, you're a loser. You're such a fucking loser. I'm not spending any more time on that. Right now, my rage is directed more inward towards my own team and some of my own team's fans. That's it. I'm done. This, as is always the case, went longer than I thought. I had a little more hot air than I thought. The 10% beautiful Bytown dark IPA is exactly what we needed to get through this. Sunday, Game 6. Go Jays. See you then. Fucking.
That's it. I cannot work under these conditions. If anybody wants me, I'll be downstairs at McDougal. Call the weekend guy. I don't care.